Hey, movie lovers, welcome back to Pop Movie Recap. If you want more movie recaps and the latest updates, stay tuned by subscribing to Pop Movie Recap. Now, let's jump right into the action. Zodanga, a predatory city, systematically ravages its surroundings, siphoning Barsoom's vital energy.
The resilient city of Helium valiantly stands against Zodanga, engaging in a relentless aerial war that spans a millennium.
During a fierce battle between airships, an unexpected turn occurs as a mysterious blue energy ray obliterates all vessels, except the one commanded by Sab, then Zodanga's ruler. Three enigmatic figures called Therns, led by Shang, approach Sab, then gifting him a peculiar blue mesh gadget that grants the ability to unleash energy bolts. However, when Sab then attempts to attack the Therns, he is forcefully repelled. The Therns reveal themselves as emissaries of the goddess, declaring her support for Sab then in his war. Instructed by Shang, Sab then tests his newfound powers, effortlessly decimating enemy ships and securing victory. Meanwhile, on Earth in the year 1881, a man named John traverses the streets of New York, sensing the presence of a mysterious follower. Taking evasive actions, he eventually stops at a shop to urgently send a telegram.
Subsequently, John's nephew Ned receives the urgent telegram, prompting him to rush to his uncle's aid.
Upon arriving at John's house, Ned consults with a lawyer who discloses the unexpected demise of John. Ned inherits everything, including John's body placed in a crypt that can only be opened from within.
Accompanying this mysterious situation is an ancient diary with strict instructions that only John can decipher its contents.
As Ned delves into the diary, the narrative unfolds 13 years in the past. Post-Civil War in Arizona, a distinguished former Confederate Army captain embarks on a quest for gold.
Although he hasn't found much yet.
Having already been cut off by the local bartender due to unpaid debts, John faces hostility from the tavern patrons.
He swiftly engages in a physical altercation, incapacitating his assailants before turning his gun on the bartender. A group of soldiers arrives to apprehend John.
Despite his resistance, he is subdued, eventually regaining consciousness in front of Colonel Powell for interrogation. Colonel Powell proposes that John join the fight against the Apaches, a proposition met with John's adamant refusal to engage in further combat, triggering haunting dreams of his deceased family. Upon awakening, John employs a resourceful tactic to gain the attention of the guard, incapacitating him, seizing the keys, and escaping on Powell's horse. Pursued by the cavalry, a confrontation unfolds as John encounters a mounted Apache warband. Tensions escalate, resulting in a multilingual shootout and subsequent brawl. John witnesses Powell being wounded and, despite his reluctance, decides to aid him. Fleeing into a canyon, they chance upon a small cave. The Apaches, observing a mysterious symbol above the cave, abruptly halt their pursuit and retreat. Intrigued, John investigates the symbol and uncovers the familiar spider emblem from his quest for gold.
A sudden confrontation arises as a Thern materializes and attacks John. After a brief exchange, John shoots the assailant, revealing a glowing pendant in the Thern's hand.
John instinctively repeats them while seizing the pendant, triggering an unexpected teleportation.
Upon awakening, John finds himself in a peculiar desert and struggles to stand. Frustrated, he discards the glowing pendant, and to his astonishment, his movements become more fluid and almost floating.
Experimenting further, he discovers that he can cover substantial distances with each jump, an unintended consequence of the lower gravity on Mars. John encounters a cluster of eggs harboring green six-limbed newborns. His observation is abruptly interrupted by a swarm of Tharks mounted on colossal creatures and armed with weapons. However, John eludes them with a single powerful leap. Tarkus orders his followers to cease fire and approaches John in a gesture of peace. Communication proves challenging due to the language barrier, leading Tarkus to mistakenly believe John's name is Virginia. Eager to witness the incredible jumps again, Tarkus is met with resistance when John attempts to pilfer his weapons. The Tharks swiftly counter and capture him, taking him to their tribe along with the newborns.
Meanwhile in Helium, Princess Deja is preparing a speech about her latest invention.
The proceedings are interrupted by her father, King Tardos, and the council, who discuss Zodanga's recent attacks, utilizing a mysterious glowing weapon. Deja reveals her invention, a gadget that harnesses the blue light, which she names the Ninth Ray. However, a council member sabotages the demonstration, making it appear as if Deja's invention has failed. In a private conversation, Tardos informs Deja that the only solution to halt the war is for her to marry Sab, then much to her dismay,
"You must find another way!
There is no other way!"
Ignoring Princess Deja's pleas, King Tardos commands the immediate organization of her wedding to Sab then.
Unbeknownst to them, a council member revealed to be Thurn using shape-shifting abilities is secretly spying on the proceedings. Meanwhile, Jon observes the Tharks in the city, captivated by their interactions, especially when they engage in conflicts over the newborns.
Tarkus intervenes, granting a hatchling to a girl named Sola, while preventing Hadris from harming Jon.
Despite Tarkus' requests for Jon to showcase his extraordinary jumping ability, Jon stubbornly refuses and is subsequently confined in a cave with the hatchlings chained. Sola visits Jon, sharing a special drink that enables him to comprehend her language before succumbing to unconsciousness. In the middle of the night, Jon is startled to encounter Woola, a dog-like alien who quickly forms a bond with him. Breaking free from his chains, Jon attempts to distance himself, yet Woola unfailingly reappears by his side in seconds. Jon follows distant noises and stumbles upon a Thark party that Woola disrupts. Intervening to protect Woola, Jon inadvertently kills a Thark, demonstrating his exceptional jumping skills. The Tharks retaliate, knocking him down. Upon revealing an understanding of their language,
Chained to a rock, Jon witnesses the consequences of Sola's interference as she is branded for her mistake.
Tarkus announces that further transgressions will result in her death as her skin cannot bear any more marks. This grim scene prompts Jon to reflect on his own family relationships. Battleships engage in a skyward clash, prompting the Tharks to seek shelter.
In the aerial skirmish, Sab then employs his powers to assail an enemy ship and board it. Simultaneously, Princess Deja, disguised as a soldier, attempts to redirect the ship away from danger.
As the ship is hit and loses control, Princess Deja clings to the edge on the verge of falling.
Jon, believing her to be human, executes a daring long jump to rescue her.
As the ships land, Jon urges Deja to let him take on the fight, but she reveals her own warrior prowess. Together they synchronously combat soldiers from both armies. Taking advantage of the chaos, Jon jumps onto one of the ships, using its cannon to target and shoot down other vessels, causing them to crash.
Sab then confronts Jon in a fierce battle, quickly gaining the upper hand.
The Tharks intervene, shooting at the ships, enabling Jon to escape as the remaining vessels flee. Acknowledging Jon's prowess, the Tharks accept him as one of their own, granting him the Dodr Sojat, or right arms, much to the displeasure of Hadjus. Although Jon hesitates to embrace the honor due to his aversion to violence, the Tharks proceed to raid the fallen ships, and Deja expresses curiosity about Jon's skills, urging him to teach her people.
However, Jon, resistant to being hired,
They exchange knowledge, leading Jon to the realization that he is indeed on Mars, brought here by the pendant. Deja, skeptical of Jon's story, speculates that he might be a Thurn.
Seeking answers, she brings Jon to the forbidden temple of the goddess, ignoring Sola's warnings.
Analyzing symbols within the temple that speak of a gate, Deja promises to take Jon there in exchange for him saving her life.
Their exploration is abruptly interrupted by Tarkus and his men, who arrest them for breaking the rules.
Tarkus, furious with Jon for jeopardizing Sola's life, reveals that Sola is his daughter,
pretending to prepare for punishment.
However, Tarkus surprises them by returning the pendant and instructing them to flee. As the group makes their escape, Hadjus becomes suspicious and enters the tent, only to find it empty. Accusations of betrayal are hurled at Tarkus.
Riding through Mars with Woola in tow, Jon witnesses the extensive damage caused by Sabthan.
They navigate treacherous sandstorms and evade warships, but after a few days, Sola realizes Deja is not leading them to the gate.
Confronted about her intentions, Deja admits to redirecting them to Helium to seek aid for her people.
Deja pleads and falls to her knees, revealing her royal status and expressing her desire to maintain her freedom. She confesses that the gate doesn't exist, and despite initial reluctance, Jon reluctantly agrees to continue the journey with her. Despite this, he remains steadfast in his belief that the cave which brought him to Mars is real. Meanwhile, Shang receives information about Deja's whereabouts and organizes a plan to pursue her. The trio arrives at a pilgrimage river where individuals seeking redemption end their lives in the water to reach paradise. Sola contemplates joining them, but John intervenes, insisting that she must honor her father's duty and assist them. Embarking on a boat down the river, leaving Woola behind, the trio eventually discovers a peculiar structure unfamiliar to Deja.
John, using his extraordinary jumping ability, takes Deja to the top, where the pendant begins to glow.
A hole opens, allowing them to enter, where Deja uses the pendant to activate a diagram of the solar system. The radiant blue light emanates from the ninth ray, a subject of Princess Deja's studies, taking the shape of the spider emblem John saw in the cave. Surprisingly, it is revealed that John's presence on Mars is the result of a replica of himself being transmitted from Earth. As Deja comprehends that Sab then is receiving assistance from the Therns, she finally accepts John's claim of being from Earth. To further study this phenomenon, she decides to take John back to Helium.
Deja kisses John, sparking memories of his deceased wife. Their moment is interrupted by the arrival of an army of Tharks, with Shang posing as one of them.
John swiftly seizes Deja, and they leap back onto the boat, sailing away to reunite with Woola. The Tharks give chase, and as John reflects on the tragic loss of his family, he instructs the girl to run while he stays behind to fight with Woola's assistance. Fueled by the memory of his family's tragedy, John gains the upper hand in the fierce battle, defeating Thark warriors left and right. However, the conflict is abruptly halted when a helium ship arrives, ending the skirmish. Tardos, Deja's father, reunites with his daughter, revealing an alliance with Sab, then who pretends to come in peace, expressing concern for the princess. In an attempt to prove his sincerity, Sab then gives his sword to Deja, who contemplates killing him, but ultimately accepts the marriage for the sake of her people. The ship, carrying everyone including John, sets sail, and it is revealed that Woola and Sola had been hiding under the dirt during the chaos. Hours later, John awakens in a lavish room surrounded by Zodangan guards. A soldier loyal to Deja visits him, urging John to pretend to take him hostage. And they reach the outside, where the soldier instructs him to jump into a specific tower. In Deja's room, she implores John to fight for her people, but he adamantly refuses. In response, Deja returns the pendant to him and imparts the words needed to activate it. As John begins uttering the incantation, guards unexpectedly enter the room.
Seizing the opportunity, John swiftly disappears, while Deja assumes he has left, believing he returned home. However, John is stealthily hidden in the ceiling. As he attempts to escape through a corridor, he encounters Shang in disguise, who apprehends him and leads him away in a carriage.
Shang reveals his extensive knowledge of Earth, and assumes a new disguise as they head to observe the impending wedding procession. During their journey, Shang discloses a grim revelation: Deja will meet her demise after the wedding.
Upon reaching a hangar with the intent to fly John away, Woola intervenes, biting Shang and freeing John. Reclaiming the pendant, John steals a light flyer and attempts to pilot it clumsily, narrowly, avoiding crashes multiple times.
A pursuing guard is shot down by Sola as John, with a rough landing, lands on the sand. John decides to return to the Tharks for assistance. Despite Sola's claim that her people don't fly, John insists she accompany him back. Upon their arrival at the Thark village, they are promptly arrested as Hajuz now holds authority. In the cell, they discover that Tarkus is also imprisoned.
He lacks the strength to kill John due to losing a previous Colosseum battle.
Shortly after, John and Tarkus are thrown into the Colosseum. Sola jumps into the Colosseum, rushing to her father's side. Despite being chained, John deftly dodges attacks from the giant white apes and eventually frees himself. Utilizing a rock as a weapon, he manages to kill one of the beasts. Seizing a sword from the ground, John swiftly dispatches the second ape.
As Hajuz attempts a jump attack, John skillfully beheads him, prompting cheers from the crowd.
Inspired by John's triumph, the Tharks are eager to follow him into battle. Guiding the Tharks toward Zidanga, John discovers the city empty, realizing the wedding is taking place in Helium. Tarkus, frustrated with John's oversight, emphasizes that the Tharks cannot make it to Helium in time. They lack the ability to fly. Disheartened, John departs alone on a light flyer. He successfully enters Helium thanks to the light flyer, making him appear as a local. As the wedding ceremony commences, John interrupts just in time, preventing Deja from becoming Sab then's wife. Sab then signals his army and escapes with Deja, leading to a fierce battle between Zodagans and Heliumites on the streets and inside the temple. Deja strikes Sab, then causing him to drop her, and John rescues her. Together they join the battle, and John engages Sab then in hand-to-hand combat. Despite a seemingly dire situation, a ship crashes into the temple, revealing that the Tharks have finally embraced the ability to fly. With the Tharks and Heliumites collaborating, they overpower the Zodagans. John confronts Sab, then immobilizing him and demanding crucial information.
However, the blue light returns to Sabdan's body, fatally injuring him before he can divulge any information.
Nearby, Shang, disguised as a Thark, is controlling the light, but he's interrupted by Deja wielding her sword. Shang transforms into Deja to distract her, and when John approaches, the real Deja exploits the distraction to push Shang away. Tarkus discovers the pendant on the ground, and as John tries to ask for it, the real John appears. Together they attack the transformed Shang, who promptly disappears. The battle concludes and a sense of peace prevails, prompting celebrations among the crowd. With the atmosphere ripe for a wedding, John removes his old wedding ring and proposes to Deja. She joyfully accepts, and the crowd revels in a lively celebration. Following the wedding night, John seeks a moment of fresh air on the balcony and decides to discard the pendant, fully embracing his identity as John from Mars. Unexpectedly encountering a guard who turns out to be Shang, John is touched and he is immediately sent back to Earth. Upon awakening in the cave, John discovers that many years have passed and Powell is already deceased. Attempting to use the words on the spider on the rock, he finds them ineffective. In the present, Ned concludes reading the story. Over the years, John searched for a new pendant to return to Mars. After considerable effort, he found something in Orkneys, aware that the Therns were still following him in disguise. Deciding to execute a plan, John feigned illness and used a special poison to make his body appear dead. He arranged for his body to be taken to the crypt, leaving specific instructions known only to Ned. Shocked and concerned, Ned rushes to the crypt, using the keywords from the telegram to open it, only to discover it empty. Suddenly, a Thern materializes behind Ned, poised to attack.
A shot rings out, killing him instantly,
revealing that he had been using Ned as bait to lure out the Thern. Though the initial plan was to catch the Thern, John retrieves a pendant from the fallen Thern, instructs Ned to safeguard his body, and then urges him to seal the crypt permanently. As he prepares to enter the crypt, John shares a few words with Ned before invoking the incantation that will transport him back to Mars. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our next recaps on this channel. Until next time, happy watching.